Have you felt like breathing is harder lately? Like something's pressing on your chest, even when you're just walking across the room? If you're over 60, that feeling might not be your imagination. And if you've ever had COVID, or even thought you recovered, it may still be lingering in your lungs. According to research from Johns Hopkins, post-COVID inflammation can quietly reduce lung capacity in older adults, sometimes months after infection. And now, as new COVID variants are spreading again this year, your lungs might be more vulnerable than ever, even if your last infection was mild. Here's the surprise: some of the fruits you're eating to stay healthy could actually be inflaming your lungs further. You won't feel it right away, but the fatigue, the dry cough, the shallow breath, it adds up. This video will uncover 7 fruits that could be weakening your breath. And more importantly, what to eat instead to help your lungs stay strong, clear, and ready to fight back. Because now, more than ever, your breath is your first defense. Now let's take a closer look at what's actually happening inside your body after you hit 60. Your lungs, like every other part of you, begin to age. But unlike wrinkles or gray hair, lung aging is quiet. It sneaks up. You don't feel it right away. There's no alarm bell. But slowly, your airways become less flexible. The little air sacs called alveoli, where oxygen passes into your blood, they start to lose shape. They shrink, and they can even collapse if inflammation sets in. At the same time, your immune system doesn't clean up bacteria and irritants as quickly as before. That means any kind of extra mucus, swelling, or irritation from the food you eat can linger longer. What used to be a quick recovery from a cold now turns into a 3-week cough. And for many who've had COVID, even a mild case, those changes in your lungs can linger longer than expected, making you more sensitive to food-based triggers. A fruit that once gave you energy might now trigger tightness in your chest. And the worst part? Most people don't realize it. They think they're just out of shape. They blame it on age, not knowing they can actually do something about it just by changing what's on their plate. The goal is not perfection. The goal is awareness. And from there, better breathing. Let's start with the first fruit on our list: pineapple. On the surface, it looks like one of the healthiest choices you can make. It's tropical, it's juicy, it's refreshing. People love adding it to smoothies, breakfast bowls, or even eating it as a dessert. And sure, pineapple does contain a powerful enzyme called bromelain. You may have heard that it helps with digestion or reduces swelling, and in some cases, it does. But what many people don't know is that bromelain, along with the natural acids in pineapple, can be a real problem for your lungs, especially if you have asthma or post-COVID sensitivity. See? Bromelain is strong, so strong that it can actually trigger histamine in your system. That's the same chemical your body releases when you have an allergic reaction. What does that mean for you? It means after eating pineapple, your airways might become inflamed. You may feel a tickle in your throat that doesn't go away, or a tightness in your chest that feels like anxiety, but it's actually just your lungs reacting to the food. According to National Jewish Health, bromelain has been linked to airway hyperresponsiveness in sensitive individuals. And if you've already got aging lungs, that's like pouring fuel on a smoldering fire. One woman I spoke to was 68. She had pineapple every day after lunch. She thought it was helping her digestion, but she couldn't explain why she had this chronic dry cough for months. When she finally stopped the pineapple for 2 weeks, the cough went away. She was shocked. That's the thing about these fruits, it's not always immediate. It builds slowly. Over time, you think you're doing something good for your body, and meanwhile, your lungs are struggling to keep up. Now, let's talk about banana, the second fruit. Most people think of bananas as a go-to healthy snack, They're soft, easy to digest, and full of potassium. Great for muscles. Right. Well, here's the twist. Bananas can actually increase mucus production in the body, and for older adults, especially those dealing with reduced lung function. That's not great news. More mucus means more coughing, more throat clearing, and more chances for infection. Bananas are rich in something called amylopectin, a type of starch that's sticky and dense. When digested, it can lead to thicker mucus in your airways, making it harder for your lungs to clear themselves. Harvard Health even states that bananas can worsen post-nasal drip, particularly in people over 60. Now, if you've ever had that annoying feeling like something's stuck in your throat, even after drinking water or tea, your morning banana might be playing a part in that. It gets more concerning if you eat bananas regularly, especially before bed. Lying down after eating mucus-forming foods can cause that mucus to pool in your upper airway, leading to nighttime coughing or that raspy voice you wake up with. One gentleman in Florida told me he stopped eating bananas after 8 p.m. and noticed his sleep improved. He wasn't waking up coughing anymore, sometimes. It's small changes that make a big difference. There's also the issue of natural sugar. While bananas aren't as high in sugar as some fruits, they still contain enough to raise blood sugar levels quickly. And for aging lungs already dealing with inflammation or damage, those spikes in sugar can cause even more stress. Inflammation doesn't just affect your joints, it affects your lungs too. And sugar is one of its biggest triggers. Now, am I saying bananas and pineapples are evil? No. But I am saying that after 60, your body doesn't process these foods the same way it used to. Your lungs, your circulation, your immune system, they all respond differently now. And sometimes, the foods you once trusted can quietly become the very things making you feel worse. What matters most is awareness. If you start paying attention to how your body feels after certain meals, you'll begin to notice patterns. That banana might make you feel sluggish. That pineapple might leave you feeling tight in the chest. You're not imagining it, and you're not alone. Thousands of older adults are discovering the same thing. The good news is, once you know what's triggering your lungs, you can change it. You can breathe easier again, and isn't that worth it? Now let's move on to the third fruit that may be silently messing with your lungs. Grapes. They're small, they're sweet, and they seem harmless. In fact, most people think grapes are one of the healthiest snacks out there. They're bite-sized, easy to eat, and loaded with antioxidants. But what many seniors don't realize is that grapes are also packed with a type of sugar called fructose. And fructose, when consumed in high amounts, can cause some serious problems, especially when it comes to your lung health. Here's how it works. Fructose is processed by the liver. Unlike glucose, it doesn't get used directly by your muscles or brain. Instead, your liver has to break it down. And when there's too much, that excess fructose gets converted into fat and uric acid. Now, why does this matter for your lungs? Because uric acid and fat buildup increase inflammation throughout your body, including in your respiratory system. According to a 2021 study in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition, high fructose intake is directly linked to impaired pulmonary function and higher levels of systemic inflammation in older adults. You might not notice it right away, but it shows up in little ways. Maybe you feel winded more easily than before, or you get that tight, burning sensation in your chest after eating a handful of grapes. Some people even describe a dull ache in their ribs or back after snacking on them. It's subtle, but real. And because grapes are so easy to overeat, you can eat a cup without even realizing it. It's easy for that fructose to build up day after day. One woman I worked with used to eat grapes while watching TV every evening. She thought it was a light, healthy treat. But she kept waking up with swollen ankles and a strange wheeze in her breath. Once she cut back and replaced them with berries. The swelling eased, and the wheezing stopped. Sometimes. The smallest change opens the biggest door. So while grapes do have some benefits, they also carry risks, especially for aging lungs that need less inflammation, not more. It's not about fear, it's about paying attention, knowing how your body responds, and choosing what helps you, not what hurts you. Here's something else to consider. Fructose doesn't just raise inflammation, it also increases oxidative stress. That means your cells are under more pressure, including the ones in your lungs, over time. This can make it harder for your lungs to exchange oxygen efficiently. You might notice you're more fatigued after simple tasks, like folding laundry or sweeping the porch. It's not just aging, it's cellular stress, and diet plays a big role. And grapes, they're sneaky. They don't feel heavy. They don't taste overly sweet. But they're sugar bombs in disguise. And because they don't require peeling or cutting, we tend to eat more of them than we think. The problem isn't just the sugar, it's the combination of sugar, low fiber, and zero warning signs. If you've been feeling short of breath, or just not as energetic as usual, and grapes are a regular part of your routine, it might be time to take a break. Try switching to fruits with lower sugar and higher fiber like pears, berries, or a few slices of kiwi. You'll still get the nutrients without the inflammatory spike. The goal is not to give up every sweet fruit. It's to choose the ones that work with your body, not against it. Your lungs are working hard for you every single day. Let's give them a little help back. Let's talk about watermelon. It looks like the perfect fruit hydrating. Sweet and light on a hot day. There's nothing more refreshing than a cold slice of watermelon. But if you're over 60, especially if you've had COVID or deal with chronic lung issues, watermelon might not be as harmless as it seems. Here's why. Watermelon may feel like water, but your body treats it more like soda. It has a very high glycemic index, meaning it raises your blood sugar fast. Almost like drinking sweetened juice. That sugar rush feels fine at first, but inside, it's triggering inflammation. And when your lungs are already trying to recover or stay strong in a post-COVID world, even a mild spike can feel like adding smoke to a fire. You may not connect the dots. You eat watermelon with dinner, sleep okay, but wake up foggy, breathless, maybe a little puffy around the ankles. It builds slowly. Not dramatic, but noticeable. One client in his 70s used to eat a big bowl of watermelon every night, thinking it helped hydrate him before bed. But he kept waking up tired, slightly breathless, and with swollen ankles. His doctor suggested tracking his evening habits. When he paused the watermelon and switched to cucumber slices and a handful of blueberries, his energy came back. His breathing got easier, and he finally slept through the night. Another thing people forget, watermelon is soft and sweet, which makes it dangerously easy to overeat. One slice becomes 3, and before you know it, you've eaten the sugar equivalent of a soda can without realizing it, because it doesn't feel heavy. We don't stop in time. It also holds a lot of water. For seniors with slower kidneys or on blood pressure meds, that extra fluid may linger, causing subtle swelling in the legs or tightness across the chest. What feels like just water may be contributing to shallow breath and bloated sleep. I'm not saying watermelon is bad, but if it's a nightly habit and your breathing hasn't felt right lately, try switching for a week. Choose pears, papaya, or simply cut the portion in half. You might be surprised by how much lighter and easier your lungs feel. Let's talk about oranges. They're bright, fresh, and packed with vitamin C, long seen as the go-to fruit for staying healthy. Orange juice in the morning, slices in your salad, maybe a supplement here and there. But here's the twist for older adults, especially those over 60 or recovering from COVID. Citrus may be doing more harm than good. Oranges are loaded with citric acid. In younger lungs, that's usually no problem. But as we age, the lining of our airways thins and the tissues become more sensitive. That same acid can now irritate your bronchial tubes, triggering inflammation, coughing, or even a scratchy throat that lingers. According to the American Journal of Respiratory Medicine, citrus acid can worsen inflammation in sensitive airways, especially in seniors. One retired nurse I met told me her morning routine always started with a tall glass of orange juice, but by late morning, her voice would get hoarse, and the coughing began just enough to feel annoying, just enough to steal her energy. Her doctor recommended cutting back. After just a week, the difference was clear. Her throat felt smoother, and she didn't need that cough drop before lunch. Orange juice can be especially problematic. It's concentrated, stripped of fiber, and hits your bloodstream fast. That sugar spike doesn't just affect your blood, it fuels inflammation throughout your body, including your lungs. And if you've ever had COVID, even mildly, those lungs might still be healing. Even a little inflammation can set you back. Now think, have you noticed your breath feels heavier after citrus, that your chest feels tight an hour after breakfast? It's easy to blame the weather or the pollen, but sometimes it's your glass of juice. That tickle in your throat might not be allergies at all. You don't have to cut out oranges forever, but try a simple experiment. Swap the juice for pears or warm water with honey for a week. See how you feel. Because sometimes, just one small change is all it takes to breathe easier again. Let's talk about green apples. They're crisp, tangy, and often seen as the healthy apple. Less sugar, more fiber, and a tart flavor that makes people feel like they're choosing the cleaner option. But what most people don't realize is that green apples contain a natural compound called malic acid. This acid is what gives them that sharp, sour bite. And while malic acid isn't harmful for everyone, it can become a problem as your body ages, especially for your lungs. As we get older, the lining of our airways becomes more delicate. It doesn't bounce back the way it used to. So when you eat foods high in certain acids, like malic acid, you may experience irritation in your throat or lungs. You might not connect the dots right away, but that dry throat in the morning, or the raspy feeling when you talk, it might be your body reacting to that sour snack you had the night before. One woman told me she loved slicing up a green apple and eating it before bed, but every morning, she'd wake up with a burning sensation in her throat and a cough that lingered until noon. She thought it was just dry air or allergies. Turns out, her bedtime apple was the issue, after swapping it out for a pear. Those symptoms faded in just a few days. There's also the sugar factor. Even though green apples taste less sweet, they still contain natural sugars, and those sugars can cause blood sugar spikes, especially when eaten on an empty stomach. That spike may not just affect your energy levels, but can also contribute to low-grade inflammation in your lungs. It's subtle, but over time, it matters. Now let's move on to our seventh and final fruit, mango, a summertime favorite. Mangoes are soft, sweet, and almost feel like a treat from nature itself. But here's the thing, they're loaded with fructose, and while natural, fructose in high doses can overwhelm your system, especially your lungs' ability to fight inflammation. Fructose is processed by the liver, and when it's consumed in excess, it turns into fat and uric acid. That buildup creates inflammation that doesn't just affect your joints, It affects the delicate tissues in your respiratory system. According to research from Tufts University, too much fructose can impair your alveolar macrophages, the tiny immune cells that protect your lungs from infection and environmental toxins. If you've ever felt unusually tired or heavy-chested after a mango smoothie or dessert, this could be why. I once spoke with a man who used to eat mango every afternoon in the summer. He thought it gave him energy, but he couldn't explain why his chest always felt tight a few hours later. When he cut back on mango and added more low-sugar fruits like papaya and kiwi, that tightness disappeared, not overnight, but steadily, over weeks. Mango also tricks you. It's so easy to eat more than you intended. A slice becomes a bowl, and because it's soft and sweet, it feels light, but your lungs feel the impact later, especially if you're already managing asthma, bronchitis, or long COVID symptoms. That excess fructose can make healing harder. So are green apples and mangoes bad? Not exactly. But they may not be serving you the way they once did. The important thing to remember is that your body has changed, and your lungs have different needs now. You need foods that calm inflammation, not feed it. Foods that support breathing, not quietly slow it down. Your breath is your life, and protecting it can start with something as small as choosing the right fruit. That's not about fear, it's about wisdom. About listening to your body and giving it the tools to stay strong one decision at a time. And there's something important we don't talk about enough: how small. Repeated choices become long-term patterns. If you've been eating a green apple every night for 10 years, you may not think that habit has anything to do with your breathing or sleep. But when you look at how food impacts inflammation, circulation, and recovery, the pattern becomes clearer. Green apples can cause a build-up effect, not harmful in a single bite, but quietly triggering irritation day after day. With mango, the story is similar. Many older adults turn to smoothies for quick nutrition, and mango is often the star: creamy, flavorful, comforting. But blend in half a mango, a banana, and some orange juice, and you've just overloaded your lungs with natural sugars. That kind of combination can feel great for 5 minutes and then leave you sluggish, inflamed, and coughing an hour later. In one study, older adults with insulin resistance were more likely to report respiratory symptoms after consuming high fructose foods. It's not just about weight gain or blood sugar anymore. This is about lung clarity, airflow, and resilience. When you're over 60, you've earned the right to breathe with ease. That starts with knowing how to nourish not just your body, but your lungs. Every fruit choice is a chance to either inflame or support. That awareness is where strength begins. Now that we've talked about the fruits that might be making your lungs work harder, let's shift to the ones that can actually help your lungs feel stronger and clearer. Because not all fruits are troublemakers. Some are powerful allies, gentle on your airways, supportive of your immune system, and low in sugar and acid. Let's start with berries. Blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries are all packed with antioxidants. They fight inflammation at the cellular level, which means they help protect your lungs from daily wear and tear. They also have a low glycemic index, so they won't spike your blood sugar. A handful of berries in the morning can go a long way. Next is papaya. This tropical fruit is soft, easy to digest, and rich in enzymes like papain. These enzymes help reduce mucus and soothe inflammation, especially in the throat and chest. Many people with lingering coughs or post-COVID symptoms find papaya gives them gentle relief. Then we have pears, mild, hydrating, and low in acid. Pears are easy on both your stomach and your lungs. They can be especially helpful if you tend to wake up hoarse or with dry throat. Avocados also deserve a spot. Technically a fruit. They're full of healthy fats that reduce systemic inflammation. And finally, cherries in moderation can help lower uric acid and support lung health, especially for those dealing with gout or joint issues. When you choose the right fruits, you're not just feeding your body, you're giving your lungs the peace and power they need to help you breathe easy. If you've made it this far, it tells me one thing: you care. You care about your health, your independence, and your ability to breathe deeply every single day. And that matters, because your breath is more than just oxygen. It's energy, it's movement, it's life. You don't have to make big, drastic changes overnight. Sometimes, the smallest shifts, like swapping one fruit for another, can make the biggest difference over time. Maybe it starts with skipping the orange juice tomorrow, or trading the grapes for a handful of berries. Maybe it means just paying attention to how your lungs feel after each meal. The truth is, aging isn't about giving things up. It's about choosing what supports you best now. You have wisdom on your side, and now you've got the knowledge too. You've fought through life, raised families, survived heartbreaks, maybe even a pandemic. You deserve to breathe with ease, not just survive, but rise. So tell me in the comments, what's one small change you're ready to make today? I'd love to hear it. Hit the like button if this video helped you. Subscribe if you want more simple, science-backed ways to care for your lungs, your heart, and your health. And remember, your best years are still breathing right alongside you. I know it's not always easy. We live in a world full of noise, so many voices telling us what's healthy, what's not, what to do, what to avoid. But at the end of the day, the most important voice is the one inside you, the one that says, I want to feel better. I want to breathe easier. I want to live fully, not just get by. And you can. It starts with understanding your body, respecting its signals, supporting it with foods and habits that help it heal. Your lungs carry you through life, through laughter, through tears, through every moment that matters. So give them the care they deserve. You're not too old. It's not too late. Especially in a post-COVID world. Your breath is your greatest gift, so protect it. Every day you wake up is a chance to do something kind for yourself. So take that deep breath and keep going. You've got this.